You know, it almost feels like Tenko's death was an afterthought. Hello, welcome back to P-Storm. I am Pluvius Lilon, and today we're playing Danganronpa Ved Thread. And when we last left off, well, as you can see, Tenko is dead in Danganronpa Ved Thread. Also, Angie died at the beginning of the last episode. Well, not quite the beginning, more like the middle of the last episode. She died at the beginning of this investigation. Her death is the one that's kicked off the investigation. And, you know, it kind of bothers me because, like, I feel like this is basically saying, like, if you're not a main character in Danganronpa, you just aren't allowed to have character development. The minute you start to show character development and you're not, like, if you're not a main character, you're dead. But okay, that's my daily gripe out of the way. Let's talk to everyone. Let's investigate the body first, actually. Tenko's dead body. She took her last breath crouched over like this. According to the Monokuma file, her only injury is a stab wound to her neck. This wound was fatal. This must have caused instant death. I didn't hear a scream during the seance. Wait. Maybe she just did too good a job of possessing Angie, and, like, they spiritually linked, and so Angie's fatal wound appeared on Tenko as well. Understood. I will not say a word until the seance is over. Would Tenko really keep her mouth shut despite the pain? Her death might not have been instant, but she couldn't have gone far before she bled out. What do you mean? You were concerned about that, right? With a wound this deep, the victim is too shocked to do anything except die. You're speaking from experience? Of course. Quick deaths are my specialty. Well then, that makes sense. The real question is, what was she killed with? I don't see a murder weapon around. You're right. I don't see an obvious murder weapon. That could be a clue. I feel like the cage might have had something to do with it, like the cage was rigged somehow. And the blood on it, might be proof of that. This is the cage used in the seance. It looks to be around 3 feet high and 5 feet wide. It's a pretty large iron cage. Big enough for a person to fit inside. You know, as evidenced by the person we put in it. During the seance, Kokichi and I covered Tenko with the cage. We were supposed to remove it as well. But it was Himiko who rushed in and removed the cage first. Hey, look at this. A blood stain on the bottom of the cage. Probably Tenko's blood, yeah? Yes, I imagine so. The splatter must have been made when she was killed. Which means Tenko was killed while she was inside the cage. I think you're right. Tenko went under the cage before the seance. Wait. Oh, which means Tenko was killed while she was inside the cage. I think you're right. Tenko went under the cage before the seance. But when the cage was lifted after the seance, she was already dead. If she was stabbed right when the cage was lifted, that would explain this bloodstain, right? Perhaps she wasn't killed during the seance, but the exact moment the cage was lifted. That is a possibility. There's a rock next to Tenko's body. This must be Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Please rest your forehead upon this stone marker I've placed here. It's just a stone I brought from the courtyard. You sure it'll work? Certainly. It is merely needed as a marker for her forehead to rest upon. Like this? Tenko had her forehead on this rock, hunched over. She had to make herself small to fit inside the cage. Okay, can't investigate the blood. Crooked floorboard. God, this floorboard's loose. That's the one right under Tenko. Why is this floorboard loose? It wasn't like this before. It must have come loose during the seance. Why would it come loose during the seance? A floorboard this thick and heavy wouldn't have come loose easily. Then someone must have loosened it on purpose. Okay, anything else? Let's find out. Let's fuck around and find out. Ah! Hole in the corner. There's a small opening in the corner of the room. It doesn't look big enough for a person to get through, but still. A hole? Looks like there's a space under here, too. Oh, hold on. I can see something below. It looks like something dropped down there. What? Something dropped down there? After we check everywhere else, why don't we go under the floor and see for ourselves? Right, let's do it. And they just find Teru Teru. Like, hey guys, I'm alive! Oh right, he is alive. Right, I forgot Danganronpa 2 was a simulation. It's the white sheet we used for the seance. This was placed on top of the cage. Kyo was the one who removed it. This cloth is pretty thick. It's similar to a window curtain. Or it's similar to a window curtain, but it's completely opaque. And on the back... Look, there's a blood stain on it, right around the middle of the sheet. But no hole in the fabric. Which means Tenko wasn't stabbed through this cloth. She was stabbed while underneath the cloth. It's the wooden dog statue used in the seance. I believe it's called the Dog God. During the seance, this wooden statue was on top of the cage. It took 4 of us to remove it. This wooden statue is pretty heavy. Kyo said it was about 175 pounds. That's about the weight of 2 girls. Or 1 very large girl. What do you know about girls? Have you even touched a woman besides your mother? Well, let me just say, I like 'em big. I like 'em chunky. I like 'em round. I like 'em plumpy. I'm kidding. Anyway, if this heavy thing's on top of the cage, then Tenko wouldn't have been able to get out easily. Yeah, you're right about that. That didn't sound like you were kidding earlier. Candles hung on the walls. They're the only source of light in the room. There are no windows in this room, so without the candles, it was pitch black. But how did the culprit kill Tenko in complete darkness? Okay, I guess I'll... Oh, the magic circle. It's the magic circle Kyo drew on the floor. Well, at least it was. It's been completely stomped over. I suppose it was unavoidable. Was this drawn with salt? Whenever I perform a seance, I always use salt. Are you feeling alright? You sound ridiculous. Ridiculous? I've performed many successful seances. Why, I've even had spirits enter my body. Shut up. I don't want to hear about your stupid delusions. Maki really doesn't beat around the bush. It's kind of refreshing, actually. In any case, with all these footprints, I can't make out the original circle. We'll find out in Kyo's lab. It should be written in the Cage Dog Village document. Isn't that right, Kyo? He seems depressed. I suppose that makes sense. Okay. So I've examined everything. So I guess I gotta talk to everyone now. Man, what a lame function. You should have made him like a transformer or something. Oh, I guess... No dialogue changes. The investigation is over and shut. And it's all thanks to me for giving Kibo his new function. Now then, Kunfu's killer is obviously one of you stupid assholes who signed up to do this bullshit seance in the first place. No, not necessarily. Huh? Seriously? This seance was clearly set up to lure her in and kill her. How could someone who wasn't in the room kill her? So you believe that Tenko was killed during the seance? There's no other possibility, shit for brains. God, you don't even know that? I mean, she has a point. Tenko was alive before the seance and dead afterward. The only time she could have died was during it. Yeah, there we go. It is true that Tenko was alive before the seance began. This is the point of no return, Tenko. After this point, you mustn't speak. The next time you open your mouth, it will be Angie speaking through you. Understood. I will not say a word until this seance is over. Tenko answered Kyo, so at that point she was most certainly alive. But when the candles were lit, she had already been killed. That means she was killed in the dark, I'm positive. What time exactly was Tenko killed after the candles were blown out? That may be an important point of this case. Why? Why did this? Kyo, I know the murder was pretty shocking. Of course, I am shocked about that as well. But why did the seance fail? We performed all of the steps flawlessly. He seems more concerned by that than the murder. Oh, if we perform the caged child again and summon Tenko's spirit this time. Cut the crap. Just tell me what happened during the seance. Both you and Shuichi were present, right? Did she get killed during the seance? True. It may be best to move past what happened, to know why the seance failed. Whatever, just hurry up. At the time, in order to begin the seance, we had Tenko, the spiritual medium, position herself as a turtle within the magic circle, so her head touched the marker stone. Then Shuichi and Kokichi placed the cage over Tenko. And after that, I placed the white cloth over the cage. Then all four of us placed the wooden statue of the dog god atop the cage. Afterward, we stood in the four corners of the room. Kokichi and Shuichi blew out the candles. Finally, we all sang the caged child song. The seance should have been complete, but... now that you mention it, I remember hearing a strange sound during the song. It is a mystery to me as well. I thought someone may have tripped, perhaps. That was a pretty loud noise for someone tripping. Perhaps Kyo knows something. And when that happened? We called out to her, but no reply came. I had Shuichi and Kokichi relight the candles. And then we removed the items from within the magic circle in the opposite order. First, all four of us removed the god dog statue. Next, I took off the white cloth, and then... Himiko ran over to the cage, and the moment she lifted it... Then it sounds like Tenko was definitely killed during the seance. But would it not be difficult in such darkness? Besides, she was inside the cage, yes? Then when was she killed? Yes, that is a problem. There is another problem. And that is, why ever did the seance fail? I simply cannot figure it out. Maybe someone moved from the corner. Did someone else sneak in here? Obviously, since this seance was clearly a sham. Maki never was one to pull her punches. Maki, we've finished investigating up here. Perhaps we should check under the floor?
It seems pretty dark down there. What should we use for light?
Let's bring a candle. With Kibo's light from up here, that should be fine.
Then I'll go get a candle. Remove that floorboard so we can go down.
Okay, got it. I pulled off some of the floorboards near the hole and took the candle from Maki. Then we carefully made our way through the hole and under the floor. This is a lot more spacious than I thought. You can move pretty easily on all fours. Let's look around for clues.
It would be pretty stupid if we found no clues after crawling around in this dusty space.
Yeah.
The cut crosspiece.
That look. Part of the crosspiece that supports the floorboard is cut up.
It's near the loose floorboard, and the portion missing is about the same width, too.
And from what I can see of it, it wasn't broken off naturally. This was cut by someone. There should be saws in the warehouse, so they could have used that. The question is why?
Another crosspiece is supporting the floorboard. Or another crosspiece is supporting the floorboard, so it might not fall if this portion is missing. So what purpose did this serve?
The floorboard underneath Tenko's body is loose, and the crosspiece supporting it has been cut. If the culprit did all of this, then why? There's a bloodstain on the ground underneath the loose floorboard. But that's pretty far from where Tenko's blood is dripping down. It's under the same floorboard, just at different ends. Why is there blood here?
Hey, the back of this floorboard has blood on it too.
You're right. There's a little bit of blood on the underside of this floorboard.
Did Tenko's blood splatter here when she got killed?
I wonder, but I can't really be sure yet. But these bloodstains here are completely dry. There must be some reason these particular stains are dry. The blood dripping from the gaps in the floorboards. Fresh blood. This is definitely Tenko's. Is that a jalapeno pepper over there? There's a sickle here. There's blood all over it.
The blood on this sickle is fresh. This is it. This is the murder weapon. This came from my research lab.
It did?
A sickle can be used to assassinate a target. It can be thrown without losing any lethality, and you can hide it under your clothes, too.
If she was attacked with this, she wouldn't stand a chance. The blade is about 6 inches. I'd know.
And since Tenko was in the cage, she wouldn't have been able to defend herself.
But even if this is our murder weapon, how did the culprit attack Tenko in the cage? The blade could fit through the gaps in the cage, but could it reach her neck?
The cage is 3 feet high. If you were to stab into it with a 6-inch blade, well, it would depend on Tenko's posture. But I don't think it's impossible.
Then her posture is the question.
Hey, if the murder weapon is down here, the culprit must have thrown it away, right?
Perhaps after killing Tenko, the culprit threw the sickle under the floor in the dark. Or they could have been under the floor the entire time. Either of those is possible. Oh. Hole. Some of the wood is corroded and it's broken off, so you can see into the next room.
This is the wall of the empty room, right? Looks like there's wood along the wall. This part has rotted away.
Looks like natural rot. This hole wasn't made intentionally, but I can get into the next room through here.
If I remember correctly, the room next door is also empty, right? Then the culprit might have gone from room to room by moving under here instead of using the hallway.
True, but it would have been difficult moving around under the floor. We did alright because we had a light, but without that, it would be pitch black. That might make it impossible to move around in here.
Then they could have used a light, like we're doing right now.
True. They used a light to move around under the floor? Is that possible? We're the only ones who can do that. I think we finished investigating here. Maki, you want to head back up?
Glad you asked. I was starting to get fed up with all this dust.
After Maki and I crawled out from under the floor, we put the floorboards back and returned to our investigation.
We've only been investigating this room. You sure that's wise?
What do you mean?
If Angie and Tenko have different killers, then the black we need to vote for is...
the culprit from the first murder. The culprit who killed Angie. That's what Monokuma said.
So instead of investigating Tenko's death, shouldn't we be investigating Angie's?
Yes, of course. But this is bigger than the killing game. For the sake of the two who died, I need to reveal the truth of both of their deaths.
Well, I understand why you feel that way. But if you plan on investigating the other crime scene again, we should probably hurry.
Would you like to leave? When I came to the hallway, a scene more surprising than I could ever imagine unfolded. Oh shit, what the fuck? It's a lie. I was like, holy shit, a triple murder. Did I surprise you? Were you gonna scream and cry in terror? What are you doing? Oh, sorry, I'm just a little lightheaded from the blood loss. Yeah, this is real blood. Okay, so what were you doing? I got curious about something, so I decided to search some empty room next door. Then, suddenly, I stepped right through the floorboard. You stepped through a floorboard? Jeez, that got me good. 'Cause of this, I tripped and fell pretty hard.
If you're going to lose consciousness, do it after you tell us everything.
Oh, sorry, my bad. I guess there was no crosspiece supporting this floorboard, so I kinda stepped through. What bad luck. The crosspiece was gone? Does that mean... Oh. Huh? Confidence, dreams, that's what the killing game's all about. Killing game fans, hold your head high and watch with your own two eyes. Baseball, soccer, mobile games, they're all nothing compared to the killing game. The killing game just can't be beat. Behold, students, the entrance to the trial grounds.
I guess time's up.
Nah, man, it's 'cause of you guys. I didn't have enough time to check something. What were you trying to check? I wanted to re-research the seance again, so I brought this document with me. But unfortunately, I couldn't find anything new that could be used as a clue. Kyo perfectly reenacted the seance as what was written on the document. He drew this magic circle the exact same way as in this picture. Not only that, he used the exact same tools, too. Nothing suspicious about this whole thing. Well, I wanted to check the finer details, but I'll tell you about it later. At the class trial, so see ya there. Kokichi left, the blood loss clearly affecting his footing a bit.
Bloody Kokichi.
Let's go too.
Yes.
Is Maki nervous?
Yes.
I see. So even she gets nervous sometimes.
What are you staring at? Do you want to die?
Oh shit, right, the trial grounds.
The Shrine of Judgment.
Shrine entrance. Oh. Hall of Judgment, I think that's what it was called. Okay, No, it is the Shrine of Judgment. Alright. Let's get a move on. I guess we'll do like half an hour of the trial.
It would appear we have all gathered, but it seems there are less and less of us. Less friends made it that much harder to solve mystery.
Yeah, I mean, there are less of us. There are only like 10 and a half of us left. Let me see here. Yeah, who's died so far? Dantaro, Kaede, Ryoma, Kirumi, Angie, Tenko, and then not Kokichi. Well, don't worry. I'm sure you've gotten a little smarter by now, Gonta.
Yeah, Gonta do his best to help.
That wants you to graduate from super idiot level to at least Kaito idiot level.
Hey, what's that supposed to mean?
More importantly, are you okay, Kaito?
Yeah, I'm feeling better now. But wow, Maki Roll sure does pack a punch. It's your fault.
You don't need to worry about our dwindling numbers. Only dipshits have died so far.
You take that back.
I know it's a tall order to try and use your brains this time, so I don't have to use mine. Or, I know it's a tall order, but try to use your brains this time so I don't have to use mine. These golden brain cells of mine are a gift to the entire world.
It's as though every time you open your mouth, you become less likable.
Atwa, please. Please lend us your power.
It may be difficult for us to rely on Atwa. Considering what happened to Angie, whom Atwa loved most of all.
She shouldn't have relied on Atwa in the first place. But seriously, it's kind of funny seeing a robot believe in God, especially Atwa.
So what? Robots can believe in God. Actually, before I even met Angie, I had a similar experience. Hearing voices, I mean. You might call it an inner voice. It tells me what to do whenever I'm in trouble. How long are you going to say that for? Atwa and ghosts don't matter right now. The voices were delivered to me in curly braces. They gave me instructions such as, please write Family Guy Naruto crossover yaoi. Yeah, the trial this time's gonna be rough. We got caught in Monokuma's trap.
His trap?
He probably made the fourth floor so scary on purpose to prevent me from investigating. No, he didn't.
Yeah, there's no way.
Shuichi, say something.
What should I say?
Atwa and ghosts don't matter right now. The culprit is... among us.
So in the end, the culprit really was... No, it's nothing. We can talk about it once the trial starts.
Gonta do his best to help. It's true, though I do not know if it can be attributed to God per se. I can hear an inner voice guiding me when I don't know what to do. I can't explain why, but I believe that voice will lead me to hope as long as I listen to it.
Shut up. Why the fuck is a robot talking about God anyway? It's unseemly. That inner voice is probably just a radio or something, like in taxis and stuff.
It was unwise of me to confide in you all.
Try using your brain so I don't have to. My golden brain cells are a gift to the entire world. I respected Angie and Tenko so much since the moment we met.
Shut up. Nothing's gonna be solved by crying about it. Besides, that was a lie, wasn't it?
Yep, you guys have me figured out already. So there's no point in keeping up the act. Kokichi never changes, no matter what situation he's in.
This trial's gonna be tough, since I couldn't do any investigating. Why did the seance fail? I never did figure out why.
I see he's still more interested in that than the case. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Man, it must be expensive to replace that giant goblet every time, every trial. As usual, we walk toward the elevator in silence. As soon as the remaining survivors stepped aboard, we descended. Perhaps because there were fewer of us, the elevator seemed to move faster. Yeah, that's how gravity works. So as we fell faster and faster, and so we fell faster and faster, downward into the black. The elevator stopped, and just like always, the doors parted slowly. The light that shines on us from the other side, the bright light of our future. Or is it...
Boy, they look really depressed. Must be because there's even less participants now.
Don't say they look depressed. You'll make Monodum sad.
As much as I'd like to keep hearing this adorable back and forth, let's hurry up and get this started. At last, the class trial will begin. I hope you enjoy it to your heart's content. The third class trial was about to begin. Angie Onaga, the ultimate artist. She created the Ultimate Academy Student Council to try and prevent the killing game. Then Tenko Chabashira, the ultimate Aikido master. She hated men, but I knew she hated this terrible killing game even more. The two who were killed were both trying to stop the killing. And who was the one who killed them? Who was it? One person? Two different people? We needed to pin that down in this class trial. In order to live, we have to find the truth. And I will fight for it. I will fight with truth and lies in this class trial. Alright, let's save, but we're not going to end the episode just yet. Yeah, we didn't buy any new skills, so let's just start the trial. Now then, let's begin with a basic explanation of the class trial. During the trial, you'll present your arguments for who the culprit is and vote for who done it. Vote correctly and only the black one will be punished.
But if you pick the wrong person, I'll punish everyone besides the Blackened, and that person will graduate from this academy. Also, refusing to vote will result in your death, so you better vote for someone. Speaking of which, election season's coming up. Now, smiles everyone, it's showtime. Let's get this crazy awesome trial underway.
Sorry everyone, but I don't think I'm gonna be much help this time. Because of Monokuma's disruptions, I couldn't do a thorough investigation.
I can tell Monokuma's overcompensating to hide his self-consciousness. Next time, spend less time fixing your hair and more time investigating, spaceman.
Shut up. I don't need to hear some comedy act from you two weirdos.
Who did it? Who killed Angie and Tenko?
Do not let your emotions hasten your judgment. There may be two killers.
So our other culprit might not be one of us here.
What do you mean?
The transfer student. Maybe our resurrected transfer student dragged Angie and Tenko into the grave.
Stop it! Stop making stuff up! Say something, Shuichi. It'll be a mess if this keeps going on.
Is it even possible for a revived corpse to be the culprit? Well, in the interest of being thorough, I should clear things up here. Okay. I feel like the Necronomicon is the bullet that I need. This isn't about believing in reviving the dead. I have to focus on their statements. Were all those statements correct? Bam! No, that's wrong. I don't think Angie's ritual succeeded. According to the Necronomicon Monokuma showed us, we have to burn the Necronomicon in the trial. After preparing the effigy, burn this Necronomicon to ashes. Use caution. Be mindful of carbon monoxide poisoning. Sprinkle the ashes on the effigy and repeat the name of the deceased 3 times. If Angie's ritual had succeeded, the book would have been gone.
So she must have been killed before the trial was complete, since the book was still intact. Then, Gonta think Rantaro probably not culprit.
No, I guess you're right.
Well, duh. There's no way a dead person could resurrect.
Now, hold on a second. I can't let that comment stand. Sure, everybody knows you can't bring the dead back to life. But it's easy at the Ultimate Academy, as long as you guys use the Necronomicon.
What are you talking about? There's no way that's possible.
But it's true. I never lie about motives. Daddy said so he can't be wrong. Raising the dead is totally possible.
Man, I can't believe you guys wasted such a perfectly good motive. You should have let me use it to bring Monodum back to life.
Monodum is still alive, though.
I'm just kidding. I wouldn't waste a resurrection on Monodum's corpse.
Oh, I feel like Monotaro's gonna die at the end of this trial.
Oh? So resurrecting the dead was actually possible this whole time?
There's no way it's possible. There's no way that could happen, idiots. Monokuma is trying to confuse us. Let's hurry up and find out who the Blackened is.
If our transfer student isn't the culprit, then blame falls to one of us.
Who? Who did it? Step aside, Half Pint. I'll handle this. I don't know about Tenko, but I'm pretty fucking sure Kyo murdered Angie.
What? Why?
Don't play dumb with me, Creepshow. I actually know what happened.
Okay. See, it's Tsumugi's account. Angie had locked herself in the ultimate... in the bump. How do I... Oh. Oh, okay. Okay, move the mouse down to scroll down. So the Art Lab's front door, the Art Lab's back door,
You shit-eating worm. Ah, damn. Whether Kyo had a key or not, Angie still would have let him into her lab. And from there, he could have pinned her down and murdered her just like that. What?
Okay, so I guess that's not the statement I gotta shoot. Is Korekio really the culprit? Does that story fit the facts of this case? We should think about it from the beginning. Let's see, what was Tsumugi's account? Angie had locked herself in the Ultimate Artist Lab since yesterday, working on the ritual. She would not unlock the door unless someone from the student council asked her to. What? That's literally the only one that doesn't contradict anything. No, Kyo would not have been able to enter Angie's lab. Isn't that right, Tsumugi?
Yeah, before Angie locked herself in her research lab, she said she wasn't going to open up for anyone but student council members.
And Kyo's not a member, so she wouldn't have opened the door for him.
Kyo couldn't have killed Angie, even if you wanted to.
I had no desire to kill her in the first place. So whoever killed Angie must have been one of the student council members, yeah?
I was doing a bit to lead you to the right answer. Can't believe you actually got it.
Oh, how clever!
You can just ignore her, Gonta.
The remaining student council members are Gonta, Kibo, Tsumugi, and Himiko.
Well, it can't be Himiko. She was besties with Angie. I trust their friendship. You guys do too, right?
Yeah, of course. Can we trust their friendship so readily?
Obviously. Let's believe in them.
That trims our list of suspects down to 3. Gonta, Tsumugi, and Kibo.
Yep. The culprit is one of those 3 people. You mean one of those 2 people? 'Cause a robot ain't people, Jack.
I will let that remark slide. Anyway, aren't these accusations just a tad too hasty?
Whatevs. The culprit should confess already. Gonta, Keyboy, or Tsumugi, well...
No, not Gonta. Gonta would never kill Angie.
Yeah, Gonta's a gentleman. You shouldn't suspect either of us.
Hey, stick up for me too. Gonta definitely not hurt anyone. Torture Gonta if you don't believe.
Torture might be a bit too far, but Gonta and I aren't the culprits.
I'm not the culprit either. Jeez.
Well, time for a mass panic debate. Okay. Okay, gentlemen not betray... Oh! Okay. There were several suspicious statements, but one is obviously inconsistent. I'll listen carefully, sort the statements in my head, and find the answer. Okay, possibilities. Okay, gentlemen not betray student council. Nothing wrong with that. Okay, only student council members had access. Oh! Kokichi's lockpicking.
Is that a robophobic remark?
Fuck you, Kokichi. No. It wasn't just student council members that could have opened that lab door. What was that you said? What was it you said earlier about Kyo opening the door, Shuichi? Unless you're a student council member, you can't enter Angie's lab, right? I was referring to Kyo. He couldn't have done it, but you could have. Because I saw you open the classroom lock by picking it. Kokichi pulled out some thin needles and stuffed them into the keyhole of the lock. Clack! There, open sesame! Oh, that happened? I totally forgot.
So you're going to pretend you don't remember, huh?
Quit glaring at me like that. Of course I remember. Yeah, I did it. I killed Angie.
Wait, what? What did you just say?
I picked the lock to her lab, snuck into the room, and then wham! Killed Angie. The culprit was me all along.
What? What are you saying? Is this some kind of joke?
Nah, no joke. I thought if I confessed, I could atone for my sins. And it helped. I feel so much better. Whew!
So, wait. Kokichi really is culprit?
No, he's lying, I think. Maybe. He's lying. I'm certain of it. Yeah, I knew it was too good to be true. No, definitely not a lie. I killed Angie. Shouldn't you guys believe the culprit when they confess? Then let me ask you, culprit, how did you lock the room? Huh? It's the same as opening it. You picked the door closed from the outside. No, that doesn't make sense.
Huh? What doesn't make sense? Can't you lock a door by picking it?
Maybe, but that's not how the culprit locked the room. They used a different method. What different method? Yeah, Mumbles. Use your big boy voice and explain yourself. There were 2 doors to the classroom, and the one locked last was... The door the culprit locked last to seal the room was, I guess, the front door? It was the front door. He could have used a lock to pick the... He could have used a pick to lock the front door. Any other genius theories you want to share with us, Mumbles? Okay, I guess the back door. The back door. That's how they made the locked room mystery. The back door had a sliding lock, yes. How was it locked from the outside? The culprit used a certain tool. The tool that the culprit used to lock the sliding door lock from outside was... oh shit. I forget how this works. Okay, I think I remember now. Okay, not the katana. Maybe the sickle. Monokuma. Yeah, they used Monokuma to lock the door. Okay, that wasn't it. Okay. The katana. The gold leaf katana that was stabbed into Kaede's effigy. The culprit used that to hit the knob of the sliding lock to lock the door.
So the gold leaf was on the sliding lock because
when that katana hit the lock, some of the gold leaf rubbed off on it. The gold leaf on that katana did peel off rather easily. That evidence rings a bell. Specifically a school bell. Huh? Are you talking about a different school? What school was it? Now, it doesn't matter anymore. Let's not dwell on the past. Aw, he remembers Sayaka. Oh, the gold leaf landed on the sliding lock when the katana touched it. So that means the culprit used the katana to move the sliding lock, right? But wait, how did they move it with the katana? And from outside Angie's lab? The clue that might give us the answer is the layout of the area itself. It was an odd setup, after all. The katana stabbed into the effigy. The effigy's hung upside down. Angie didn't do that as part of the ritual? No. Nowhere in the Necronomicon did it say you had to hang the effigies.
If it was not part of the ritual, then it must have been for a different purpose, right?
A different purpose? What could that have been? The culprit somehow used the setup to lock the room. In that case, I need to know the reason behind every step of that setup. If I do that, the way the culprit locked the room should be clear. Oh, we about to... Yeah, Psyche Taxi.
Vroom vroom, motherfuckers!
Reminds me of something you'd see in Hugo the TV Troll, honestly. Ugh. I'm sure I talked about... Yeah, I think I talked about Hugo the TV Troll in my Princess Peach Showtime playthrough, but if you don't know what it is, it was basically like a European game show where you'd play video games through your landline phone on your TV. Like, you know, contestants would call in and push the numbers on their landline phone to control the character, who's this little troll named Hugo. But, yeah, now I'm just repeating myself. It's thinking time. Talking time's over, it's thinking time now. What turned the handle of the sliding lock? The katana's hilt. Good. Yeah, if you want to hear more about Hugo the TV Troll, go watch my Princess Peach Showtime playthrough. Just driving in a desert, picking up letters. Oh no! Shit! Alright, come on. Almost. Just one more. Just one more letter. Okay. What was done to make the katana turn the lock? Okay, sliding lock was tampered with. Katana was stabbed into the effigy. See, I can think. I can pay attention. As you can probably guess from this gameplay, though, I can't drive a car. Come on, get over here. Okay, how's the effigy manipulated to make the katana affect the lock? Okay, swinging it back and forth, making it fall, or spinning it. Shit. Maybe spinning it? Because, I mean, it was still hanging, so they couldn't have made it fall. Okay. That's it. The reason the culprit stuck the katana into the effigy was so that it would hit the sliding lock as the effigy spun. Effigy spun? Whee! That's right. If you spun the effigy, the rope it was hanging from would twist. Whoosh! Then if you let it go, the rope would unwind, and the effigy would spin the other way. And of course, the katana would spin with it. Clack!
I see. So the culprit used the katana's counterspin to push the lock into place. The culprit simply needed to spin the effigy's rope and then swiftly leave. This would cause the spinning katana to hit the sliding lock, and thus was the back door of an empty classroom locked from the inside.
Yes, that's how Angie's lab was locked. By using the effigy with the katana. A plan born from the heart of a sword, traveling through the air to intercept us. Oh, but could it have moved the slide lock so easily? The sliding lock was pretty loose. A little push could move it. As long as the spinning katana hit the lock, it should have slid into position.
Even if the culprit failed the first couple times, they could keep trying until it locked. Which is why the culprit chose to strike at nighttime, as to avoid detection. Yes, since the student council prohibited anyone from walking around at nighttime.
Are you saying it's the student council's fault?
I didn't say that.
In any case, the culprit probably used the murder weapon for this trick. It had to have been the right length, or it had to have been the right length to hit the sliding lock from the effigy.
The culprit couldn't find a blade long enough in my lab, so they settled for the katana.
The other effigies were only hung up so we'd think it was some kind of ceremony. That way we couldn't notice the lock trick. But Kokichi did say earlier that he could have picked the lock closed. I don't want to completely ignore that possibility. But I can't imagine the culprit would have done all this just for a distraction.
If that's the case, then Kokichi's confession earlier was actually a confession.
Seriously? You fucking lied again?
Cough it up, Kokichi.
Aw, man, you guys got me. Okay, I'm not the culprit. You're telling the truth this time, right? I want to say I'm lying, but I'm not.
Then why did you say you were the culprit?
I don't know, I'm just fucked up like that. Anyway, we'll, yeah, I think that's a good place to end the episode. He wanted to lure the culprit out. Yeah, we'll leave it on that little cliffhanger, because I feel like it's going to be at least another half hour before we get to the actual cliffhanger. But if you enjoyed this video, then no further actions required on your part, and we'll see you next episode.